Let me just say something that might surprise you. A woman can love you and still take you for granted. Yes, really, it happens more than you think. And the craziest part? We usually don't even realize we're doing it until you're gone or until you finally stop chasing us. That's when everything shifts. That's when the silence gets loud, and that's when we start missing the man we swore we didn't need. Here's the truth. Most women aren't evil manipulators. We're emotional, we're impulsive. We chase connection, but we also test boundaries. Sometimes we take your consistency for weakness. Sometimes we confuse your patience for a lack of options. And sometimes we just assume you'll always be there until you're not. See when a woman starts to feel like you've stopped orbiting around her, when your energy pulls back, when your presence fades, when you're suddenly no longer accessible the way you were, it flips a switch inside her. And that's when the missing begins, but by then it's not about what you're doing. It's about how she feels in your absence. This video isn't about blaming women or bashing them. It's about telling you the real truth from a woman's mouth so you can stop wondering what went wrong. And start understanding how this dynamic actually plays out, because yes, there are signs, there are subtle psychological moments when a woman starts to miss the very man she overlooked. And if you're a man who's been taken for granted before, or if you're pulling back now and trying to understand what she might feel in the silence, this is for you. I'm going to walk you through it step by step, not from a textbook, but from how we actually think, how we actually feel when we realize we might have lost a man who wasn't so replaceable after all. 1. It hits when you stop reaching out. You want to know when we start missing you? It's not when we're arguing. It's not even when we're giving you the cold shoulder or acting like we don't care. It's when your name stops showing up on our phone. You stop checking in, you stop texting, you stop sending those little updates we used to pretend we were annoyed by, and that's when the silence creeps in. Not outside, but inside us. See, most women are used to being pursued. We're used to a man proving himself, showing up, being consistent even when we're hot and cold. And when a man keeps showing up like that, we feel powerful, we think we've got him wrapped. And in that mindset, it's easy to start taking him for granted without even noticing it. But when he stops, that's when it hits. At first it feels like confusion. Why hasn't he messaged me today? Then it turns into checking the phone more often, refreshing your feed, watching your stories just to see what you're doing, even if we never like or comment. We feel that shift in your energy, and our ego doesn't know how to handle it. And don't think it takes long. A few days, maybe a week of distance is enough to make a woman who once said she needed space suddenly feel anxious about what you're doing without her. We start wondering, did he meet someone? Is he mad? Did I mess up? Is he really done? What you have to understand is when a woman pulls back or acts like she doesn't care, it's often a test, a way to see how much you'll fight for her. But if you walk away instead, it shocks her system because deep down she expected you to hold on, and when you don't, she starts realizing just how much she relied on your presence, your voice, your attention, your reliability. The things she once overlooked become the things she starts craving. You stop reaching out, and that's the moment she starts realizing what she's losing. And the worst part for her, she can't just pick up where she left off because now you've changed. You're no longer chasing, you're no longer giving your energy so freely. And suddenly, she's the one who has to wonder. That shift, that's when the missing starts. 2. We remember the things you did that we didn't appreciate. You know what's wild? We don't miss you for the big gestures. We miss you for the little things. The things we didn't even realize mattered until you stopped doing them. It's not about the expensive dinners or the over-the-top surprises. It's about how you used to text us good morning without fail. How you noticed when we were tired even when we pretended to be fine. How you'd show up not with flowers but with our favorite snack. Or you'd remember something we said in passing that no one else caught. We remember how you made us feel safe, heard, chosen. But here's the thing. At the time, we didn't always value it. We got used to it, comfortable, maybe even a little entitled. We assumed it was just who you were, the nice guy, the one who always cared, always gave, always showed up. And when we were wrapped up in our own moods, frustrations, or selfish moments, we probably made you feel like none of that mattered. Like your efforts were invisible. But once you're gone, those same things echo loudly. We start missing that steady, calming presence, the way you supported us without asking for credit, the way you forgave us when we weren't our best. And we feel it not because you stopped doing it, but because no one else does it like you. We begin comparing every new man to you. And here's the honest truth most women won't say. When we find ourselves around men who don't show that same emotional depth, who don't pay attention, who don't see us the way you did, That's when the regret sets in, because now we get it. We realize we didn't just lose someone who liked us. We lost someone who actually cared. We lost someone who gave more than he got. Someone who was emotionally intelligent, aware, present, and that kind of man, he's rare. It hits us when we're laying in bed scrolling through our phones, seeing something that reminds us of you. It hits when someone else gets annoyed at us instead of patient. It hits when we try to open up to someone new and realize it's just not the same. You taught us a kind of love we didn't even know we needed until it was gone. And by the time we understand what we had, you're already out of reach. So yes, we miss you, but more than that, we miss how we felt when we were with you. And if you've ever wondered if she thinks about all those little things you did, she does, more than you know. 3. We start playing it cool, but inside, we're spiraling. When we realize we've taken a good man for granted, we don't always admit it right away. In fact, most of the time we try to play it cool, by posting a few living my best life stories and casually talking to someone else. We're not over you, but we're trying to act like it. It's a defensive mechanism. We don't want you to know that we are thinking about you, that we are replaying conversations, wondering if we went too far, whether we misunderstood your love for weakness, and worst of all, if we have lost you forever. We are spiraling quietly inside, but we will not show it. That is part of how women deal with regret. We compartmentalize, we try to bury it under distractions, attention, validation, but none of it actually works. Because the thing is, when a woman feels emotionally connected to a man and loses that, it doesn't just vanish. It lingers. It haunts. We'll see you moving on, glowing up, maybe even doing the things we said we wanted, but now you're doing them without us. And that stings because now we realize it wasn't that you weren't enough. It was that we didn't recognize your value in time. But even then we won't rush back, not right away. We'll wait. We'll see if you reach out. We'll hope you still care, still check, still wonder. And when you don't, the panic sets in. We start asking ourselves things we never did before. Was I too cold? Did I expect too much? Did I make him feel unappreciated? Does he hate me now? And it gets worse when you go silent because now we don't know where we stand. And women hate uncertainty, especially when it comes from a man we assumed would always be there. See, we often assume we have time, that you'll be there waiting, that we can pull back and you'll chase, that we can test your patience and you'll stay. But when you don't, when you actually stop showing up, stop calling, stop caring, that's when we start losing it inside. We may appear uninterested, but believe me when I say that silence speaks louder than words. It pushes us to confront everything we disregarded, all the ways we abused you, all the things you did that we dismissed. And the longer you remain silent, the more we realize he may not return this time. That is when missing you develops into remorse, which turns into a wake-up call. Not every woman gets there, but the ones who truly cared, even if they didn't show it when they had you, will feel it terribly when they lose you. And deep down, every woman who's taken a man for granted fears one thing, that you'll finally realize your worth without needing her validation. So if you're in that silent phase right now, wondering if she's thinking about you, the answer is probably yes. But more importantly, it's not just that she's thinking, it's that she's feeling she's sitting in a space she's not used to, one where she's not in control, where her feminine influence doesn't sway you anymore. And when a woman feels that kind of emotional disconnection from a man she once dismissed, that's when regret shows up not loudly, but quietly and deeply. So don't break the silence just because it feels uncomfortable. You have no idea how powerful it really is, or how much clarity it's creating in her. If you let her treat you like you're replaceable, she will let me be blunt here, because sometimes you guys need to hear this from a woman who actually respects you. If you allow a woman to treat you like an afterthought, if you keep showing up for her when she clearly isn't showing up for you, if you keep proving your loyalty to someone who doesn't value it, then you're teaching her that you're replaceable. And I promise you, once a woman believes that about you, she'll start acting like it's true. Now, I'm not saying women are cruel or heartless, but we're emotional, intuitive, and when it comes to dating, extremely reactive to how a man presents himself. If you're always available, always agreeable, always forgiving, even when we cross lines, we stop feeling your value, and instead we start seeing your desperation. And that's a really unattractive energy, because here's the uncomfortable truth: women don't respect what we can control. If we know you'll be there no matter how we act, we stop feeling that pull to be our best around you. You become easy, predictable, emotionally cheap. We don't mean to take you for granted, but we do. And by the time you realize it, it's already a dynamic one you've silently allowed. But here's the good news. You can change it, and not by chasing, not by demanding respect. You change it by withdrawing your energy where it's not being reciprocated. You shift the power by holding yourself to a higher standard, not as a tactic, but as a lifestyle. You show us through action that you know who you are and that you're not afraid to lose someone who doesn't see your worth. And trust me, that change, we feel it, we notice when the energy shifts, when you stop chasing, when you start moving like a man who knows he brings value to the table. So if you're in a situation where you gave too much and she started treating you like an option, it's time to stop blaming her and start checking yourself. What part of you kept hoping your love would be enough to make her appreciate you? That's the part that needs healing. Because the minute you realize that you have the power to set the tone for how you're treated, everything changes. A woman can't take a man for granted who doesn't give her the chance to. Here's the truth most women won't say out loud. We don't miss you because you were nice. We don't miss you because you did everything right. We miss you when you make us feel something we can't replace. That's not always about looks or status or being the perfect guy. It's about how you hold yourself. It's about the emotional imprint you leave behind. When you finally walk away, not in anger, not in desperation, but in peace. Quiet, confident detachment hits different. When a man stops trying to prove his worth and simply lives like he knows it, that's when we start remembering him. And if we took you for granted, that shift doesn't just sting, it haunts us. So if you've been hurt by a woman who didn't see your value, don't chase closure. Don't chase her. Become the man who doesn't need to be seen because he already sees himself. And believe me, that is the man we miss. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been taken for granted by a woman you gave your all to? Did she come back, or did you walk away for good? Drop your story in the comments. I'll be reading and replying because these conversations matter, and I respect every man who's ready to grow from the truth.